You're good.
Go ahead.
You all set?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, I'm just putting on my YouTube here. All
Okay.
right. Let's see. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special meeting of the Zoning Commission, City of Danbury, Thursday, November 10th, 2022, 7:30 p.m. Let the record show. We will begin with a roll call at 7:37. Commissioner Coelho is here. Commissioner
Here.
David.
Here.
Commissioner Fay.
Here.
Commissioner Hawley.
Here.
Commissioner Hylinski. Oh, did she just disappear?
Where is she?
We lost
Oh,
her.
she's gone again. Okay, well, she'll be back. I'll watch for her.
We'll come back. Commissioner Jowdy. There's a red piece there. Commissioner Malillo.
Here.
Commissioner Rea is absent. Commissioner Bennett, absent. Commissioner Duran, absent. Commissioner Mejia, absent. I'm Chairman Haddad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, Angie's
7.
back.
We have 7 now, and I'm looking for Angie. Give
She's
me
coming.
3
I'm here.
seconds. Got
Yep,
your
we got you.
And
You
I
got me?
see- I see
We got
Commissioner Hylinski and Commissioner John here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8. The next regular meeting is scheduled for November 22nd, 2022. If we would all stand, whoever has their flags, please hold them, and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, thank you.
Sorry about that, Ted.
That's boom, 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 boom. Everyone should have received a copy of the September 27th minutes, 2022. Any comments? If there's, like to get a motion to accept the minutes of the September 27th meeting. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Jody, thank you. Is there a second? Second on the minutes. Ms. Fay, did I see your hand? Second by Ms. Fay. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? I don't hear any negative and I don't see any hands on no, so the minutes are accepted unanimously. This meeting of the Danbury Zoning Commission is being held on Zoom as a virtual meeting. Even though this meeting is a virtual meeting, members of the public and interested parties continue to have the opportunity to participate in the meeting in a couple of different ways. Excuse me. You can participate via Zoom and see the audio and video. You can call in by phone and participate via audio only. Please be aware that we may have to mute your microphone or telephone to avoid an echo or some other background noise. This is also being streamed live via YouTube. Instructions on how to participate in the meeting appear on the City of Danbury website, and all of the documents and materials that apply to the matters to be discussed during this meeting, including the agenda, are also available on the City of Danbury website. As always, if you have any questions, please contact the City of Danbury Planning and Zoning Department. As a reminder, the entire meeting will be posted on and can be seen on the City of Danbury website. We will follow the posted agenda as per standard practice. If prior to the meeting, any questions or comments on the agenda items are submitted via email to Sharon Calitro, those comments will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. Finally, please remember that technology glitches sometimes do occur. Please be patient if that happens.
Mr. Haddad,
Yes, Commissioner
before
Malillo.
before we begin the agenda items on the meeting, can you or maybe Ms. Calitro refresh for my memory? Because this is a special meeting and normally special meetings cannot amend an agenda, are we able to move an item from a public hearing to old business? Because would that be amending the agenda, or I don't remember how that works for special meetings.
I thought it was just you couldn't add things.
I think we can, move them to old business. I mean, I think we can do that. This is a special meeting because it's not a special meeting. It's a special meeting of a meeting that was supposed to be scheduled 2 days ago. It's not a
Yes, but
special-
for under FOI laws, the way a special meeting works under the Freedom of Information law is different than a regular meeting. And under the Freedom of Information laws, I know we cannot amend an agenda. We can't change the agenda.
You can't
And
add
so-
anything.
Right, but
Yeah, I don't think you can add.
moving something adding an item to old, that's why I don't remember how that.
We've done it
works.
before. We've done it before, Rob.
Okay, that's just it. I wanted clarity because I just, we don't have many special meetings, so I didn't remember how it worked. That's all.
I think we're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you for pointing that out, though. I do appreciate it. Let's see. I did the instructions. Why am I not finding the legal notice? Let me read the legal notice for this evening's legal notice. Notice is hereby given that the zoning commission of the city of Danbury will hold public hearings commencing at 7:30 PM on Thursday, November 10th, 2022, in a web-based special meeting hosted on Zoom to consider following matters. Petition of Evelyn L. Wells, trustee, and Al Manuel Andrade for Tiesto's Restaurant, 215 to 219 Main Street, I-14230, for special permit for restaurant liquor license in the CCBD zone. Petition of Delaware MMP Realty LLC, property owner, City of Danbury, 40 Apple Ridge Road, E17061 and E17061-1, for a change of zone from IL40 to RA40. Application of Vintage and Classic LLC, prospective tenant, 60 Shelter Rock Road, K15107, for a certificate of location approval for a motor vehicle general repairs license in the IL40 zone. Copies of these applications are on file in the planning and zoning offices for public inspection. Parties and interested citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard at this time. Agenda to be posted will include instructions on how to access the Zoom meeting and application materials and view the meeting in real time on YouTube. Theodore J. Haddad, Jr., Chairman, posted on the city website, Town Clerk's office on October 26, 2022, published in the News Times on October 28, 2022, and November 4, 2022. Purchase order is 2023-2401. While we're on that subject, at the top of our agenda, where it says agenda posted in Town Clerk's office on, if you'd like, that date in there should be October 26, 2022, as it was just read in. The first public hearing this evening is a petition of Evelyn L. Wells, trustee at L. Manuel Andrade for Tiesto's Restaurant, 215-219 Main Street, I-14230, for special permit for restaurant liquor license in the CCBD zone. Before I call those in favor, commission members, you all have a copy of in your documents, the special permit petition, including the site map and floor plan. Further, there was a May 8th, 2019 letter in there from Jennifer Eminger, and there's a note at the top of it that was dated August 30th, 2022, and it basically says this waiver approval can still be used for Manuel Andrade to open Tiesto's Restaurant. So the approval that it looks like that was done for this property on May 8, 2019 also holds true for 2022, and perhaps the attorney that's presenting this evening, if they want, they can go over that. So now I will ask if there's anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition.
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Tracy Hertzberg. I'm the attorney representing Manuel Andrade.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Attorney Hertzberg, you have the floor, so why don't you go ahead?
Thank you. So certainly my client is wishing to open Tiesto's Restaurant on at 219 Main Street. If it's okay, Commissioner, I have just a couple of slides that I'd like to show. Would that be all right?
Oh, absolutely. You can. Sure. Joanne, you want to work that out? Ms. Reed, work that out? Thank you. You're good to go.
Thank you. Okay, this is our.
We have it up, by the way. We have it up.
Great, thank you. This is our petition. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the restaurant. Tiesto's Restaurant will be operated and owned by Manuel Andrade and Gina Alvarez, that is his wife, with help from their 2 adult children. They wish for Tiesto's to be a family restaurant. They plan to be open 7 days a week from approximately 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., serving breakfast, brunch, lunch, and dinner. They also plan to serve Colombian food. They estimate needing approximately 5 kitchen staff, 6 front of house staff, and 2 bussers for each shift when there is a lot of traffic. They intend to have 2 shifts each day from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Obviously, there will be less staff when less traffic deems that necessary. And they intend to have approximately 15 full-time staff and some part-time staff as well. We did submit a little bit after our petition to Ms. Reed the proposed menu for the location. It includes a lot of traditional Colombian food as well as some updated twists on that food.
Excuse me, Attorney Hertzberg, we didn't get the menu. You said you were going to send it, but we didn't get it.
Oh, I apologize. I did send it over. I do have copies that I can
Okay, good. Thank
provide,
you.
if anyone is wishing to see it, but it is an extensive list of traditional Colombian food with some updated American flair. This is the floor plan that was included in the packet. There, you'll see the seating area in the front on the left-hand side of your screen. And then the restrooms in the middle with the bar going into the back where the kitchen area is located at the back of the restaurant. It's long and narrow. These are just some photographs of the work that's in progress inside. It's almost finished now. This is the bar area. As you can see, there's hand paintings on the walls and it's very colorful on the inside. Here are some photos of what the seating area looks like. As you can see, they have brought in the Colombian motif, some traditional Colombian artwork. It looks a little bit like a hacienda, and it has beautiful colors to kind of draw your attention. And this is the restroom area. My client has commissioned someone to paint, a local artist to paint all of these paintings just to give it a little extra something. This was all done by hand. This is not stickers or anything, but it just adds a little uniqueness to the restaurant. And like I said, my client wants this to be a location where people can bring their families and also go for to have a nice dinner with a couple of cocktails with friends, a good atmosphere for having conversation and enjoying a lovely dinner. And then this is just some of the artwork and decoration around that bring in the Colombian, culture to the space. And that's all I have in terms of my my photos and presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that the commissioners might have.
Thank you very much. Commission members, any questions of Attorney Hertzberg at this time? Oh, I'm sorry. Before I do that, let the record show that at the very beginning, and she is qualified for this, is Commissioner Mejia. And Commissioner Mejia, I'm going to sit you in for Commissioner Reja for this, since you qualify for this and for the entire evening. Commission members, any questions at this time of Attorney Hertzberg? Commission members, any questions at this time? I don't hear or see any hands, so we'll come back to you, Attorney Hertzberg, for any final remarks after I go through the rest of the format here. Anyone else? Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone else? Oh, Councilman Rotello, I see your hand waving.
Mr. Chairman, probably in favor, but just a quick question to the chair. Would there be outdoor seating?
Attorney Hertzberg, are there any plans for outdoor seating?
Not at this time. The location is in a building right on Main Street. It's kind of sandwiched between a couple of banks. I don't know that there's really a location for it, so we're not asking for that at this time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Thank you, thank you, Councilman Rotella. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Not seeing or hearing any, we'll go back to Attorney Herzberg. Is there anything else you want to add to this, Attorney? Oh, did I just lose her? Nope. We
I'm
lost
here.
her photo. There
Sorry,
you are.
I clicked the
That's
wrong.
all right. Is there anything else you want to add to this? Anything that you want to reiterate or add that you haven't already mentioned?
I don't think so. I just wanted to touch briefly on your, Mr. Commissioner, you asked about the approval that I had received regarding the old approval. I had a couple of conversations with Ms. Reed in the planning office when I was working through the application, and she did. I apologize, the person who approved it was written at the top, and I have a copy somewhere, but I don't want to waste your time trying to get it. We
Okay.
did go and ask them to ensure that I didn't have to submit for a new request.
Right.
That's just how that came to be.
Okay, so you just touched on what I was going to follow up, what I was going to ask you. Anyway, it's your intention to, while this letter, while this waiver and this approval letter is approved on August 30th, you're planning on doing exactly what this also says, 62 seats.
Same floor plan.
You're
Same
gonna
floor
open up- It's the same floor plan, it's the same everything.
It's a restaurant.
Okay.
I believe, I don't recall what that location was. I believe it may have been a restaurant or a bakery of some kind. But it is a restaurant. It does have the same floor plan though.
Same, perfect, okay. So everything that I was going to ask about seating and all that is in here, which is basically part of your good to go with.
Yes,
Got it.
thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, and a good presentation, by the way. Anything, commission members? Anything else? Ms. Calitro, any comments?
No, I just want to, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to be sure that we had the hours, because that's part of what you have to consider as part of the approval in accordance with 3F2, and those were presented tonight. So I would remind the commission that should you take action on that, the hours have to be part of the approval as well as the floor plan. And I just would also comment that the 2019 waiver, again, just based on the presentation, had like 2 employees noted on it, and it appears like there's going to be more employees for this business. Although I don't think really it's much of a big issue because parking is available in public garages, in the Bardo garages, as well as the other city garage and in city lots. So I don't think that that's a big issue.
Yeah, I noticed that. I don't think so either. Thank you. Yes, they did. They mentioned the hours 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. Okay. I guess there's nothing else here. Commission members, anyone looking?
Ricky.
Sorry, Commissioner Jowdy.
Yes, could you hear me?
Yes, we got you. Thank you. Go ahead.
To the chair, excuse me. I didn't recall if there was a bar in there. Did I miss it? A service bar or a sit-down bar in there?
Attorney Hertzberg, your bar is planning on to be just service bar only, not a sit-down bar?
There is a bar located in there. The space is quite tight. I think it would function best as a service bar. It would not add seats to the floor plan.
Okay, when I saw the photos, it didn't look like there were any bar stools there. It looked more like a service bar. Because this commission has the right to just approve this if they see fit as a service bar only. That's what your intention is, a service bar only, not a sit-down bar?
I think I would check with my client, and he is online, but there's no intention for it to add any additional seats. Manuel, would you like to comment on whether you intended to have bar stools. I thought it was just gonna be a service bar, but if you'd like to comment.
Oh, I see someone there named Manuel,
Yeah, Manuel, that's my client. Manuel, are you there?
Manuel Andrade. Unmute your mic, please. There you
Hello?
go. So you would be Manuel Andrade, you would be the applicant, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you planning on having any seats at the bar, a sit-down bar for people to pull up and belly up and sit and drink and eat, or is it just gonna be a service bar?
My plan is yeah to be put few seats there, but it's not gonna be like really because it's gonna be family. So yes, if you like you going to with a couple, they can sit in the bar and have some cocktails.
How big is that? Do you know the dimensions of that? How long is that bar?
The dimension is probably about 20 feet by 6.
How many seats do you think you can put up at that bar?
Probably I can put like 12 seats, no more between 10 and 12.
10 and 12, okay.
It's not a large space and there is some narrow space between a column and the bar that would kind of minimize the number of seats that could go around it.
It's because it's because I'm gonna put a big screen TV. Those big ones are coming up right now. I'm gonna put it there so to watch soccer and everything. That's the only issue. I want to put a seats there, but
Okay,
Thanks, Manuel.
we have, thank you, Mr. Andrade. We have a question from Commissioner Malillo. It may be to you, Mr. Andrade. Commissioner Malillo.
Thank you, Mr. Haddad. Actually, this is to Ms. Calitro.
Okay.
If he's intending to make that a bar, do we need to approve a floor plan that shows seats at that bar?
Yeah, that's what I was going to raise my hand and comment on. I think we need to just ensure, I don't know if there needs to be a separation wall, between the bar area, and I don't even know if that's physically possible there. And also now we're getting into, the employees is one thing, but now we do parking on a seat count. And so now if you're adding seats, we really should be updating that waiver.
I don't believe there's going to be a difference in the number of seats. It would just be the location of the seat.
Okay, so Ms.
Oh, so they
Calitro-
would take 12 seats off of a table and put them at the bar, is what
Yes,
you're
we're just changing the location of the seat, not the total number of seats available.
Okay,
Okay.
so Ms. Calitro, question then, and this is, I'm thinking more from an administrative standpoint. If we took action and gave a normal approval to this petition, and they came in, could administratively you handle the bar scenario, even though it's not shown on the existing floor plan? Or because if we don't not allow a service, if we don't condition it as a service bar only, then technically they can come in at a later date and add the bar. And could they do that administratively and not require us to hold this public hearing open to receive a new floor plan with the bar seating there?
I'm certainly happy to get you
Ms.
a
Calitro?
new copy of the
Well-
floor plan as quickly as possible, if that would be necessary.
Well, I'm just thinking
Hold on
though,
one second, Attorney Hertzberg.
because if we need that, then we can't close the public hearing tonight. But if it can all be done administratively, then theoretically we could close the public hearing and even maybe take action this evening. And then just let the planning and zoning department handle that like they normally would from an administrative purpose. Is that something that could be done, Ms. Calitro?
I don't know what the separation wall or requirements
No
might
wall.
be.
No wall.
no
I checked
wall.
with Sean.
And there you go. So Joanne's one step ahead.
I'm sorry, because we talked about this. I checked with Sean and he said no walls required in that. So,
Well, we're back to the
Couldn't you-
issue now. We're back to the
Couldn't
issue
you-
now that the presentation showed 62 seats. But it would change to 50 seats and then 12 at the bar.
Yeah, but my question is, could we approve it as is? And then and once we give the approval, there really shouldn't be anything that would prohibit them from submitting a new revision to the planning and zoning department for administrative action based on our
Correct.
approval, as long as we don't condition it service bar only.
Correct. We only care that it's 62. If you want
Right.
to take 10 and put them at the bar, we can handle that internally.
Right, so
But
that
when
way
we-
we wouldn't have to worry about the fact that we don't have a floor plan tonight showing bar seating, because we would be approving this really without that, but not prohibiting them from having one. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Haddad?
Yes, so basically, we could go ahead and act on this tonight without putting in the condition of service bar only. And then at a future date, which we would hope would be immediate, they would submit to the department an updated floor plan with the removal of 10 or 12 seats and placing them at the bar, just rejiggering the 62.
Yeah, I would just do it as a precursor or prerequisite to a zoning permit. Then they won't get a zoning permit till we see an updated plan. That's all.
I can
Right, but
have
they
the
would already
updated
have the
plan.
approval from us, so it wouldn't need to come back before us. so
Correct.
it could
Doesn't
help-
need to come back.
Yeah,
I can have the updated plan to you on Monday.
Sounds good. Thank you. And Mr. Jowdy, Commissioner Jowdy, go ahead again.
All right, another further question, maybe to the applicant's attorney. Have they thought about the floor plan? I can't bring it up on my phone here, but if there's a main door and it goes right into the bar and there's no separation, I don't think the liquor commission is going to want that. I don't know how much it has to be closed, but it can't just flow right into it. So if there is a service bar, it could be different.
Listening.
So if they're seating at the bar, you can't enter the building without some kind of separation. So I would advise that they check with the liquor commission and think about that before we proceed.
Well, I mean, that brings us still back to us being able to take action on that and then having them work that out with the department or with the state at a different date, right?
yeah, Mr. Haddad, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to take action based on what we have presented us tonight. We're giving approval for the use in this facility. And
For
then
that number
they
of
could come
seats.
back administratively and just say, you know what, I'm gonna restructure things around. Does this still fit the zoning rate and requirements the city has? And maybe the liquor commission. And then, well, obviously they would need to, but the city wouldn't really voice that one. But it would all be already done in a location that has this as an allowed use
Yep,
with
I
the
agree.
permit.
Thank you, Commissioner Malillo. Commissioner Jowdy, you got that?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, I mean, we don't have the hearsay to tell them where to put the wall and if it needs it, or whatever. I'm just trying to let them,
Yeah.
reduce the steps that they have to do to take the action that they need to take. That's all.
I'm
Thank you.
appreciative of that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else, commission members? Looking, I don't see hands, I don't hear voices. Anything else, commission members, anything else? I think if someone wants to make a motion to close, we can. Is there a motion to close the public hearing, or does somebody want to continue it? What's your
I'll make a
pleasure?
motion to close.
Motion made by Commissioner Malillo to close this public hearing. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner David. Any discussion? Not hearing any or seeing any hands. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much. This public hearing is closed. The second petition this evening, let me get this out of the way. The second public hearing this evening is a petition of Delaware MMP Realty LLC, property owner, City of Danbury, 40 Apple Ridge Road, E17061 and E17061-1 for change of zone from mile 40 to RA 40. Commission members should have received, and the public actually, it was posted, received links with documents. And before I go there, let me just, as a matter of housekeeping, say that on September 6th, there's a letter dated and it was received on September 7th from Antonio Idarola. Dear Chairman Haddon, in reference to the petition to amend the zoning map submitted for the above noted property, the applicant grants a 65-day extension to commence the start of the public hearing. There's another letter in the file dated June 30th, 2022 from Melvin Powers. Dear Ms. Eminger, the undersigned is the owner of the property. The undersigned authorizes the city of Danbury and its authorized representatives to file all necessary land use applications or requests with the zoning commission and other regulatory agencies of the city of Danbury to change the zoning classification of the property from IL 40 to RA 40. Thank you for your acknowledgement of such authority. That's a letter from the present property owner authorizing the petitioner to submit this evening. Let me read the Planning Commission 8-3A referral dated August 18th, 2022. Petition of Delaware MMP Realty LLC. At the web-based, did I mention August 18th? Yes, August 18th, 2022. At the web-based Zoom meeting held on August 3rd, the City of Danbury Planning Commission voted to give the above referenced petition a positive recommendation for the following reasons. Rezoning this property to RA 40 to permit a school is consistent with the plan of conservation and development, as it supports the provision of necessary school facilities to meet the growing and changing needs of the Danbury Public Schools. Number two, the proposed rezoning will allow the land to be used in the best interest of the city and will not have a detrimental effect on the health, safety, and welfare of the public. This motion to give this a positive recommendation was made by Mrs. Hofstadter, seconded by Mr. Salvain, and passed by a voice vote with 3 ayes from Mr. Chioccio, Mrs. Hofstadter, Mr. Salvain, and Chairman Finaldi. Boom, boom, boom. Now, if I can call on Ms. Calitro, if she can go over the staff report for us, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So you all have a copy of my staff report dated July 27, 2022. We have received a petition from Antonio Idarola, Director of Public Works and City Engineer, to rezone the above referenced parcels from IL 40 to RA 40. The property, as you just heard, is owned by Delaware MMP Realty LLC, care of Cardis. And they submitted a letter authorizing the petition to be filed. The property is located at 40 Apple Ridge Road. And while there are 2 tax assessor lot numbers, the deed describes the land as a single 24.06 acre parcel. Access to the land is provided over Apple Ridge Road, which is a private driveway, and the site is developed with an existing office structure and an adjacent surface parking lot. The petitioner states the reason this petition should be granted is to facilitate the development of the proposed Danbury Career Academy as approved by the voters of the City of Danbury on June 7, 2022 referendum. The change of zone will also return Lot E 17061-1 to its original RA 40 zone. So tax assessor Lot E 17061 has been zoned IL 40 since at least 1979, when the Orchard Park site plan and the industrial subdivision were originally submitted and approved. Tax assessor Lot E 17061-1 was rezoned from RA 40 to IL 40 in 1997. The portion of Ye Old Road which formerly bisected the 2 parcels was formerly abandoned by council. In general, in terms of the zoning, the lots to the northwest and south are zoned RA 40, lands to the east and the lot directly south of the existing office building are zoned IL 40. There are areas of the site within the mapped aquifer protection area, and any proposed use of the land must comply with these and all other regulations. In terms of the plan of conservation and development, the map designates the subject parcels as mixed light industrial, office, and transportation. Again, this is the map designation that was done in 2002 when the POCD was adopted. There are also notations of wetland areas along a portion of the parcel that are also noted on the survey. The purpose of the RA 40 zoning district per the regulations is to provide low density housing in appropriate locations and to permit limited public and quasi-public uses appropriate for residential neighborhoods. As noted in the petition, the proposed use of the property is for the Danbury Career Academy, which is a public school, public use. Schools are permitted uses in the RA 40 zoning district subject to specific use regulations. So rezoning the property to a zone that permits a school is consistent as well with the public facilities and utilities section of the POCD that supports the provision of necessary school facilities to meet growing and changing needs of the Danbury Public Schools. We evaluated the proposed zone change in terms of the zone change criteria in section 10I3 of the zoning regulations. I've listed in that section in terms of meeting the general criteria based on its intended use, and as well the specific criteria for mixed residential districts, which requires determination of compatibility of the density permitted in the proposed zone with the surrounding residential densities, and the proposed zone is appropriate given the surrounding zoning. B, sites should be conveniently accessible to collector or arterial streets and highways and transit routes, with consideration given to impact of the development on traffic safety and congestion on abutting or nearby roads, and the feasibility of undertaking improvements as may be necessary to limit the impacts to accessible levels. Apple Ridge Road, as I indicated, has access to Kenosha, and Kenosha is considered an arterial road pursuant to our subdivision regulations. Sites in this zone should be limited to those which will be served by public water and sewer service, and where adequate capacity is available and there is public water and sewer provided to the site. Development of slopes in excess of 25% should be avoided. As you know, the subject property has been developed. There's an office building and a very large parking area. And finally, sites which contain a preponderance of wetlands and which lie within public water supply watersheds should be avoided. And again, our comment is this subject property basically has been developed. In conclusion, to maintain the zoning scheme that is compatible with existing zoning of adjacent properties and facilitate development of the school, rezoning back to the RA40 zone is appropriate. The Planning Commission gave you its report, and for you to approve the petition to amend the map, you need to find that you've considered the plan of conservation and development as required by statutes, and that the rezoning meets the zone change criteria of the zoning regulations, which I just went through and are in the memo. Rezoning should result in the best use of land that's in the best public interest of the city and will not detrimentally impact the health, safety, and welfare of the general public. And it's our opinion that rezoning to the RA40 zone will do just that. So we do not have an objection to this proposal.
Mr. Haddad,
Commissioner Melillo, yes.
before you turn it over to the applicant's attorney, I would like to just note for the record that this passed the Planning Commission with 4 ayes. There were 4 commissioners named as voting in favor, and the report said there was 3 ayes. So I just want the record to note that it passed with 4.
The motion to give this part of our name is second by the cast by voice. Yes. Thank you. How did they do that? Huh. Crazy. Maybe they should have said with 3 other ayes. Thank you. Yes, and before we go, is there any questions of Ms. Calitro now? We'll have another chance to talk to her. No? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak in favor of the petition.
Yes, is that Mr. Idarola?
Yes, it is. For the record,
Yes.
my name is Antonio Idarola. I'm the Public Works Director and City Engineer for the City of Danbury.
Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission members, for taking up this petition. Our Planning Director's report is incredibly detailed. She captured a lot of the history pertaining to this parcel. Very interesting. The parcel is one parcel, but it has 2 actual tax assessor numbers. And I think we understand how that came about with the abandonment of the Yale Road. I'd just like to say that this is a very exciting project for the City of Danbury and the Board of Education. We are expecting to close on this property. It's for this reason that we are actually acting as the agent for the property owner. The anticipated closing date is the 22nd of this month. And once the closing is done, We hope that we can finalize this zone change and move ahead with the rest of our approvals. I also just want to state that we are in the middle of also seeking several approvals from the state on this project that will put us through the ringer on providing all the details necessary to facilitate a well-developed, well-designed school that meets all of the needs of the Board of Education and the state. So there's a lot of stringent requirements, but none of that could start unless we actually get a zone change. The zone change requirement is a slight shift of the existing zone line that exists between the RA 40 and the IL 40. That shift is to the east. So this isn't an isolation of a segregated zone. This is actually just a shift of the existing zone line that exists between the IL 40 and the actual RA 40. And I'll take any questions that you or your commission members may have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Iadarola, when you say, I think we're thinking different than what you're saying. When you say there's a shift in the line, you're basically saying that if approved, we would be just moving the line because it already abuts an RA 40 zone.
That's exactly
Right.
correct. There'll be a shift to the east. Yep.
Yeah. So you already joined RA 40, I think in a couple areas, right? On a new parcel plus Worcester School, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I think I caught everything else, but let's see if we have any other questions from any commission members. Commission members, any questions at this time of Mr. Iadarola? In fact, before I do that, I have another question. Your closing date of November 22nd. And you know, here's an interesting. I'll do it as sensitively as possible. This commission could do several things tonight. It can close the public hearing and vote. It can continue the public hearing. It can close the public hearing and not vote. The petitioner's preference, because of they don't own it at this moment, but they will own it shortly. And the next meeting is scheduled for November 22nd. Your preference would be not. What are you looking for tonight?
Thank you. I didn't know how to bring that up, but I want to thank you for doing
I
that.
didn't either. I just put it out there.
Well, it's interesting. One of the requirements is that we cannot actually seek or secure a zone change until the closing has occurred. So
Okay.
what the preference or what I as a petitioner would hope you can do tonight is actually close the public hearing, but not vote until your November 22nd meeting.
Okay.
So thank you for very elegantly bringing that difficult subject forward.
Well, it's like when it's a contract purchaser and then they happen to mention in their presentation that there's a closing date coming. It can go either way. In most cases, it goes the other way. They want the zone change before the closing, but here I thought I'd throw that out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commission members, any questions at this time? Any questions, commission members? I don't see any at this moment, so let me go to anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition? I see Councilman Rotello.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. For the record, Paul Rotello, 13 Linden Place, Danbury. I fully support the petition. It is good for Danbury. For anyone doubting as to whether this is a spot zone or not, as Mr. Iadarola eloquently put forth, it is not a spot zone. It is contiguous with other zones of a similar nature. It is as good as neighbors Cardis and Hologic were. There is no particular crystal ball in determining what the future use of this parcel could be. Turning this into RA 40 and putting a school there is probably a much better fit for Ye Olde Road, for the residences on Ye Olde Road, and certainly for the existing school that's already there at Worcester. That has been in Danbury and been a great addition to Danbury for the last 100 years. So putting another campus adjacent to an existing campus is a great idea. The city of Danbury, I don't want to use the word desperate, but I'm going to, desperately needs more schools. And we did the best we could with another parcel, and we put our shoulder to the wheel, and it for one reason or another did not work out. This is a really good pivot. I have high hopes for this, and really the only thing that we're waiting for now is the administrative change to RA 40. As was mentioned, we do have to wait until the closing to make this go through, but I fully expect that it will, and fully support the petition, and hope very much that the commission sees it that way too. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Rotella. Commission members, any questions of Councilman Rotella at this time? Thank you, Councilman Rotella. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? I don't see any hands or hear any voices. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? I don't see or hear any hands or voices for opposition. Mr. Iadarola, is there anything else you want to add to this before I go to the staff for final comments?
No, I'm good, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Ms. Calitro, any comments? Any additional
No.
comments?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
Commission members, your final chance to question Attorney Iadarola or Ms. Calitro. I don't see it. So I believe we're in a petition to close. Commissioner Malillo.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
It's a motion made, commission members, there's a motion made by Commissioner Malillo to close public hearing. I see a second by Ms. Helinski. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So I saw hands and heard voices for aye, I did not for nay, so unanimously, this public hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're very welcome. Thank you. The third public hearing this evening. And I'm going to put this over here. I'm gonna grab
Question,
this here.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Malillo.
Before we move to the public hearing number 3, just for convenience sake, were we wishing to move public hearing number 1 to old business?
I think we could. I think everything we decided that was maybe questionable or pending can come from Attorney Herzberg to the staff.
Because I'm just thinking at the end of this public hearing, if we wanted to move that one too, to keep it in order, it'd be easier to move the first one first and then the second and then the next one. So I'll make a motion, even though the public hearing closed a while ago, I'll make a motion to move item number 1, or public hearing number 1 rather, to old business for discussion and possible action.
And that is the
That
petition
is
of
the
Evelyn
petition of
Wells,
Tiesto.
trustee.
Yeah, of Evelyn L. Wells, trustee for Tiesto's Restaurant.
Thank you. Commission members, there's a motion made by Commissioner Malillo to move the petition of Evelyn Wells, trustee, open November 10th, 2022, closed November 10th, 2022, to number 1 under old business for discussion possible action. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Jowdy. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? I did not see or hear any opposition, so that will move to number 1 under old business for discussion of possible action.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry to interrupt you like that, but I just thought it'd be easier.
No, it's perfect. It's
Secretary
no,
to keep it
no
aligned.
problem at all. No problem at all. Worked out great. Number 3, application of Vintage or Classic LLC, prospective tenant, 60 old, I'm sorry, it's not Old Shelter Rock Road. It's just 60 Shelter Rock Road, K15107, for a certificate of location approval for motor vehicle general repairs license in the IL 40 zone. So what do I have here? I did pull a copy. Okay, there's a copy of a letter, October 4th, of Attorney Beecher. I won't read it because I'm sure he will speak of it. So why don't I just go right to those wishing to speak in favor of this petition? And I think that's Attorney Thomas Beecher.
It is, Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thank you. For the record, Tom Beecher of the Collins Hannafin Law Firm, and I represent Vintage and Classic LLC. With me tonight is Rob Madeira, who's the managing member of Vintage and Classic LLC. Mr. Madeira has a very interesting business. Vintage and Classic LLC will specialize in restoration, rebuilding, and repair of classic off-roaders such as vintage or classic Land Cruisers, Land Rover Defenders, Broncos, Mercedes G-Wagons, and Scouts, to name a few. He does some work on classic automobiles, but primarily the business is classic off-road style vehicles. You may have seen a recent article in the newspaper about his business, which was very interesting. The property where the proposed location is 60 Shelter Rock Road. That's located in the IL 40 zone, where vehicle repair facilities are a permitted use. This building is a multi-tenant building on 7 acres. The specific tenant space for Vintage and Classic is tenant space number 8, which you see on the drawings that we submitted, which is at the rear of the building in the southwest corner. I submitted Google photos as well to give you an idea of the area of this building where this business would be located. It is next door to the very rear of the Danbury Sports Dome. The space where this business would be located is 6,500 square feet, so there's plenty of room inside. Mr. Madeira will have 2 car lifts and 4 to 5 employees. We received site plan waiver approval from the planning department on September 27th. And as noted in that approval, there will be no outside storage of vehicles or parts or equipment. And Jennifer Eminger had asked me about that before she put it into the approval, and we agreed to it. To be honest, these vehicles and the parts are too expensive to leave outside lying around. As noted in that approval, Vintage and Classic only needs 9 parking spaces. This site has 198 parking spaces, and in fact, as the site plan waiver notes, there's actually 80 extra parking spaces for what's required by the regulations for all of the uses on the site. So there's plenty of parking outside. So in short, I think this location's a great location for this business. It's a suitable site in an appropriate zone. I believe there is at least one other auto repair facility in this particular building. So in conclusion, I would just say that there won't be any impact on health and safety related to this use or this business. And it's generally consistent with your plan of conservation and development. So respectfully, we would ask for your approval.
Thank you. Attorney Beecher, I may have been taking notes. Did you also mention, because someone was going to ask, but it is in the report, that the retail sale of automobiles is strictly prohibited?
You usually do make a note of that.
So commission members, there won't be any, sales.
And we understand that. And Sean will be watching us.
Yes, that usually comes up in the question section. Commissioner Melillo.
Yeah, I want to comment that the sales is actually a different petition, a different permit, so that wouldn't qualify at all anyway into this permit. So, but that's not my question. Attorney Beecher, I'm just curious, and this is in relationship to what you were talking about regarding Ms. Eminger's letter, and it makes perfect sense, especially with the scope of your client not to wanting to store the items outdoors. But you also mentioned that there is currently you believe that there currently is an auto repair facility in this premise. Do you happen to know if they've been conditioned to not store vehicles outdoors? And the reason I'm asking is I understand how it fits your business model, and normally I would want to condition that, especially based on the recommendation given from Ms. Eminger, but I also don't want to impose a restriction on one tenant that another tenant may not have.
And I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that question, Mr. Melillo.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure if you did or not, but I wanted to at least voice my concern.
I appreciate the question. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Calitro?
And I just comment on that because there is a condition in Jennifer's letter, and that's a pretty standard condition. So I don't know how long ago that other automobile repair would have went in, but I could tell you that this is a standard condition that you can't store or repair cars that you need to be repaired in a regular parking spot. The parking spot is for motor vehicle, coming to the site. So you can't do work, you can't store vehicles, you can't work on vehicles outside. That's a pretty standard condition.
Right. I just remember in my tenure, which isn't nearly as long as Mr. Haddad's tenure, but in my tenure on the zoning commission, I do remember us actually imposing that restriction first because it wasn't always on things. And while now it's a pretty standard one, it's probably after 10 years or so of having us done that. And so I was just curious because again, I just wouldn't want to see us put a restriction on one tenant that another tenant may not have. It just seems unfair to me, but that's for this commission to consider and not necessarily the department.
Nevertheless, we're fine with it, even if it's a little different than what may exist for another tenant.
Thank you, Mr. Beecher.
Excellent. Thank you.
That helps to make it a lot easier for us because we wouldn't be forcing a restriction on you. You would be obliged to be agreeing to it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Commissioner Melillo and Attorney Beecher. Commission members, any other questions at this time? Any other questions? I don't see. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Attorney Beecher, I don't think I stepped on your toes, but did I cut you off? Did you want to see if Mr. Madera had anything to say, or is he good?
I think he's good, but
Okay.
if he wants to,
That's what, Mr. Madera, did you have any comments that you wanted to make?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I don't have anything to add. I appreciate everybody's consideration. I echo everything that Mr. Beecher, attorney, has said. Look forward to a positive confirmation by the committee and appreciate everybody's time this evening.
Well, thank you very much. Commission members, any other questions? Ms. Calitro?
Can I just, Mr. Chairman, and I just noticed that I don't see Olga. So yeah, so there, I think you have 8. I think she was, I'm pretty sure she was here for the DCA.
Yeah, I don't see her either.
But she might have just lost connection.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a time delay on YouTube, and she's not there either. Okay, so she must have been gone for a little while. Didn't even notice. Thank you. Where was I? Anything else, commission members of Ms. Calitro or Attorney Beecher? Okay, is anyone in a position to make a motion to close the public hearing? I don't think we have to leave it open for anything.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you. There's a motion made by Commissioner Melillo to close the public hearing. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Fay. Any discussion? Not hearing any discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so I didn't hear or see any opposition, so this public hearing is closed.
Mr.
Thank you.
Haddad,
Yes, Commissioner Melillo.
I'll make a motion to move this to item number 2 under old
Thank you very
business.
much. Commission members, there's a motion made by Commissioner Melillo to move the application of Vintage and Classic LLC application, which was opened on November 10, 2022 and closed November 10, 2022 to number 2 under old business for discussion, possible action. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Hylinski. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Not hearing or seeing any opposition, it passed unanimously to move to number 2 under old business. Vintage and Classic. Okay, we don't have any continuation of any public hearings, which now brings us to old business for discussion and possible action. We do have 2 Number one is the petition of Evelyn L. Wells, trustee at El Manuel Andrade for Tiesto's Restaurant, 219 Main Street, I-14230, for special purpose restaurant liquor license in the CBD zone. This public hearing was open November 10, 2022, and was closed November 10, 2022. Commission members, what's your pleasure on this petition? I think it was Commissioner Malillo that made the motion to close and also to move.
I'll follow suit then, Mr. Hatt. I'll make a motion to approve and that it meets the.
You know, I
conditions
walked you
set
right
forth-
into that, right?
Yes, you did. Set forth that you set forth in our zoning regulations, it's compatible with the neighborhood and it does not interfere with any of the concerns that we would have. And it meets, the standard criteria.
What are we doing about it? We don't have to clean up anything on service bar or any of
No,
that. It's gonna take its course.
I am not looking to make it service bar only. That leaves that all up to the for administrative actions moving forward. I'm just doing a standard approval.
Sounds good. Commission members, you heard the motion to approve with reasons and items, and is there a second? Ms. Calitro?
It's just like to remind
Yes.
the commission that in 3F2, you're supposed to note the hours in the
Right.
approval.
Okay, the hours were, I believe,
9
9
to,
a.m. to
9 to
11
11,
p.m.,
I think it was.
7 days a week.
thank you.
And also the floor
And we did
plan
receive a floor plan.
was
um,
received.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Calitro. Thank you, Commissioner Malillo. Did I see a second? Who, did I call in a second on that? Who made the second?
Ms.
Ms.
Fay.
Fay made the second. Any discussion? We're gonna do a roll call vote on this. A yes is yes, and a no is no. Commissioner Malillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Fay,
Yes.
Commissioner Coelho,
Yes.
Commissioner David,
Yes.
Commissioner Hawley,
Yes.
Commissioner Helinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Jowdy. Commissioner Jowdy says yes, I see his hand. And we don't have, Commissioner Mejia, and I will vote yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Everybody get that 8? Ms. Reed, you got 8? Got it. Congratulations, this petition has been approved. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, and commission members, if you recall, we do have the number 2 under old business for discussion possible action. It's the application of Vintage and Classic LLC, 16 Shelter Rock Road, K15107. The public hearing was open November 10th, closed on 2022, closed on November 10th, 2022. And I think, let me see here, I think that motion was made by Commissioner Malillo.
Yeah, I feel the walk coming back my way again, Mr. Haddad.
There you
Okay, so I
go.
will make a motion to approve this petition. It is not detrimental to the neighborhood of the surrounding area, and it meets any criteria set forth in our zoning regulations. I will put the stipulation as agreed to by the applicant and the staff planning department, requiring these outside storage of vehicles that are being repaired. And I will just, not for a reason, just as a comment, that it seems weird to do this on a parcel away from the mall and airport. We've been doing so much over there. It's nice to be in a different part of Danbury for a chance.
It's funny you should mention that. I had somebody ask me, what's going on over there by the airport? Well, these car dealers anyway, just a couple days ago. I think it was my father. He said, what are you doing over there? Anyway, thank you. Is there a second, commission members? Who wants to second that motion by Mr. Jowdy? Thank you, Commissioner Jowdy. Thank you. There's a motion made by Commissioner Malillo, second by Commissioner Jowdy. And I think we have everything boilerplate that we should into this. Jowdy is a second. Any discussion? No discussion. The yes is yes, the no is no. Commissioner Malillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Jowdy. Commissioner Jowdy's waving his hand, yes. Commissioner Coelho,
Yes.
Commissioner David,
Yes.
Commissioner Fay,
Yes.
Commissioner Hawley,
Yes.
Commissioner Helinski,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 8-0 yes on that as well. Congratulations. Good luck to you, Mr. Madera.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Attorney Beecher. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Beecher.
much. Thank you.
Where else are we? We have no new business. The only correspondence we have is the 2023 regular meeting schedule was handed out via link on this evening's agenda. Before I go to other matters, for reference only, following petitions have been withdrawn by the applicant. Petition of Fairway Asset Management 2 LLC to amend the master plan for the reserve to remove phase 10, and petition of Fairway Asset Management Roman numeral 2 LLC Reserve Road C16046 for change of zone from PND to IL 40. I think they were going to go on the 22nd anyway, so they're withdrawn. Are there any other matters?
I want to just note, Mr. Haddad,
Yes.
in reference to your calendar that you mentioned.
Yes.
We do have a zoning commission meeting on that calendar scheduled for Valentine's Day. So I'm mentioning it out there. Some people, I don't know if I will be or not, I might be. We might be in trouble that night. So, but we do have a meeting scheduled for Valentine's Day.
Well, the meeting before that, if we have anything that's touch and go, we'll just act on it and leave, so we can cancel the 14th. And the only other discussion I have is, how did Commissioner Fay get rid of the her backdrop? Did you figure it out? Or did you go to another server?
There's a button that says more, and then it said background, screen backgrounds. Figured it out.
Beautiful. There you go.
I was like an avatar. I was more.
Anything else under other matters? Nothing else. So if somebody wants to make a motion to adjourn, I'm sorry, anything from Ms. Calitro, Ms. Reed under other matters?
No, sir.
All right, so we have, we do have November 22nd. And if the city does close on that property on the day of the 22nd, we'll have something to talk about.
Mr. Chairman, is
yeah,
that
Commissioner
the,
Gallo.
I'm sorry, I closed my agenda. Is that the only item for the 22nd right now? Is the,
I think that's it.
Yes.
so
That's it.
if, just by chance, and so if the city, for whatever reason, doesn't close, would that meeting potentially being canceled, or?
I would think if,
Yes.
if they find out before the 22nd or even the day of that the closing doesn't take place, everybody look in your email box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was mentioning, we may want to make a mental note to pay close attention on the 22nd for a potential update
Yeah.
on that.
All right, sounds good. Who wants to make a motion to adjourn?
I do. I make a
Motion
motion to adjourn.
Motion made by
Bye-bye.
Commissioner David to adjourn, second by Commissioner Coelho. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Let the record show at 8:45, this public hearing is closed, and I want to thank everyone. Thank you very much.